I'm not sure what's happening, but today we're having another podcast recording. Hi everyone. This is the less
Hello.
this is the less dumb intro. Not as funny as last week's.
I'm pretty proud of last week's, if I do say so
Yeah,
myself.
you completely upended me out of the blue. You came in like, ha! I was like, whoa! And I was like, Metal Gear.
And speaking of woe,
Yeah.
today's subject, woe long, Fallen
Fallen.
Dynasty.
Yeah. I had finished it. Sardo got to the end in some form or fashion.
I watched gameplay on YouTube, and I got to the conclusion that way because I am not good at video games, and I wanted to know what was going on.
Which is completely fair. Not everyone is great at video games. I'm not either. I'm just competent at them enough to do it. Though I once again, I will talk about it later how my personal journey. But yes, we are talking about Wolong Final Dynasty, not Final Dynasty,
Final, though,
the Final Dynasty.
this
That's
is the last dynasty.
there totally isn't like 10 more after this. But
And also, howdy everybody. This is Stross. I'm Sardo.
yeah,
In
that's
case
true.
you didn't know,
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
get totally off the rails here.
I'm the almighty Stross. This normally Stross. That's Sardo, aka the Uncle Death. This is the Skeleton Crew podcast, and this is episode 9. We officially have almost as many Star Wars movies as in count. We just need 2 more.
I'm so proud of us.
Okay, technically 3, but like that Clone Wars movie, the animated one, was a TV pilot. So I'm not sure if I want to count it.
Yeah, but it fucked.
Not
The animated Clone Wars fucked.
well, yeah, the show fucked. Not so much the start of it, but
Uh,
the rest of the show totally did.
yes.
The show was actually pretty good. But yeah, so we want to count that, then we need 3 more.
All right. Well, I
I'm
think
sure
we
we
can do
will be better than Solo.
that. We can certainly try.
We'll see. Anyway, on topic, as I said when we first talked about Wo Long, eventually we'd talk about sort of the game as a whole.
Mhm.
And today's that day. Or more
Yeah.
accurately, what we ultimately thought of it. Ooh,
Our
exciting.
thoughts and feelings.
We got kind of sidetracked by being really sad about Samurai. As we want to do.
It's something we're very good at. But here's our other thing we're passionate about, and Strauss, okay, you finished Wo Long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's your take on it as somebody who played the game through to completion?
Okay, so I will say this first and foremost. Gameplay wise, awesome. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Takes some getting used to. It's one of those things that requires some, like, slow but surely, you gotta get used to it.
You need a relative level of like skill and patience to play it.
Yeah, it's a Souls-like. That, it's part of the territory.
And then
But
you feel all the more accomplished for having beaten it.
sometimes.
Usually.
Yeah, sometimes you cheese it and you're like, I did it.
Hey.
But yeah, no, I felt gameplay wise it was good. Story wise, a bit different. Not that I thought it was bad. It's just that I felt. I was gonna use something. I noticed a friend on the Twitters, one of my moots, my mutuals. She was playing it too, and she was liking it. She's like, I just don't know what the fuck's going on. She was saying, and I'm like, yeah, that's a total fair point. If I wasn't a giant weirdo who already knew what was happening all the time, then I would be really fucking confused.
Now, this game I've noticed has something in common with our other Warring Kingdoms series we love, Dynasty Warriors. And also Romance of the Three Kingdoms by extension. It loves its original characters. There are some people here, like, even if you are pretty familiar with the story, that's like, oh, that's a new addition.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. Like, its major new character is Hong Jin.
Mm-hmm.
who is sort of your hot companion that you run around with,
Yeah.
which is totally fine.
Yeah,
I
it's always good to have a sexy lady with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a way, it's a lot like the original Neo, because you had
Mm-hmm.
that too. You had a hot ninja girl with you.
Right.
But I would say the problem is because this game has a very odd pace, and I think you will agree with me. It's like you start out with the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and then before you know it, it's like you're dealing with Dong Zhuo, and you're just going.
Yeah.
You just run.
You get balls deep into things very quick in this game.
And if you're not familiar with the setting, like we are, because you and I, like, we see all these names, we're like, yep, know who that is, know who that is, know who that is. Don't know who that is, but I know what his, but they say what he is as like, oh, he's a eunuch. Okay, got it. Know who that is well enough to, what that means well enough to move forward. But like, my friend was like, had no idea who most of these characters were, so she was just like, what the fuck is happening?
And I do think that going into this without some background knowledge on ROTK, which is totally fair because not everybody knows what that is or has checked that out. It's a bit like watching the Game of Thrones series without having read any of the books first, because
And like you're starting from like season 2.
and it's everything is very densely packed. There's a lot of characters. There is conspiracy and treachery going on, and you don't really know what the hell's going on because who are these people?
Yeah, and that was sort of the thing that I noticed between like seeing her like tweets on it and just my own feelings on the game when I was playing it. Like, the funny part is she was so curious on who everyone was, she ended up watching the 94 TV drama.
Oh yeah.
Which is a great pick, by the way. There's like 2 TV dramas. The 94 one is, I believe, considered the better one.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Mostly in terms of acting, not in terms of budget. The 2010 one has the better budget and is way more memeable.
Yes.
They're
So, I mean,
both
watch
good.
both,
Yeah,
really.
no, they're both great. One is more of like, we had the budget and we put a lot of money behind this. The other one is we wanted to make it. They're both good. Just
We had $5 and a dream.
yeah, and it shows. But the acting's really great.
Yeah.
They're both good, and the one advantage of the 2010 one is that the guy who plays Cao Cao is so much fun.
Yes. Oh.
He's just
Oh, Lordy,
going around
yes.
being the most memeable man in the Three Kingdoms. The
I
acting
love that
is
Cao Cao.
the acting is still good. It's just it's different.
Yeah, it's just different is all.
Yeah. I think usually the 94 one is the one that's usually recommended because it's like, I guess, taken a little bit more seriously. I don't know. Point is, both are good. And she ended up watching it. It's like, oh, now that I understand who these people are, that point where you and Guan Yu and Zhang Fei are teamed up to fight people, it's way cooler.
Yeah, it's more like, oh, that's the significance behind that.
Yeah, and that's kind of I think the biggest problem with Wo Long from like a storytelling standpoint is that everything is not told to you directly. So like the story's just go, 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 go.
Understand what's going on? Too bad. Keep going.
The pacing of it is weird, and it's also done from the fact that like, unlike Neo, where you had a map.
Mm-hmm.
So when you finished a mission, you would go on the map, see all the extras, do those, then go to the next story mission, so it had some chance to breathe. This just keeps going. Like, I was halfway through the game, and I didn't even realize I was underleveled.
It's relentless.
Not that it's bad, it's just that it just keeps going. Like, you jump from beating the Yellow Turbans to dealing with Dong Zhuo in, like, one story mission in between those two.
Yes.
And then you jump... Oh, go. No, you go first.
No, no, you got it.
And then it's like suddenly you're dealing with the death of Sun Jiang, and then it's like, what's after that? Oh, now you're dealing with Lu Bu. Now you're dealing with this. Now you're dealing with, and you're like, oh god, slow down, please.
Let me breathe.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to talk about, because we discussed characters like a teensy tiny bit,
Yeah.
but I want to talk about characters. I want to talk about Yuan Shao, because this Yuan Shao, I want to soak him in spoiled milk and hit him against the wall and make like a loud thud with him. Like I love him so much.
Oh, we mentioned this I think last time, and if we not, we're mentioning it now. Sorry.
Mhm.
A lot of the character designs for characters in this game still follow like the Dynasty Warriors looks.
They have the flavor.
Yeah. Like if you play enough Dynasty Warriors and then you play this, you recognize what these characters look like, and it's really funny.
Like, oh, it's a snooty looking guy with streaked hair and a mustache. That's Yuan Shao.
Yep. The only difference is everyone uses their style names half the time, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, second name to remember, just in case.
Yeah,
Take some notes.
Just to make things more confusing, if you're close enough to someone, you use their style name. What's the style name? It's a different name. Why did they do it? I don't know.
I like to I like calling style names homie names.
Yeah, that is kind of like, this is how it shows them how they're used.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like these three characters are close, so they call each other by like their designated we're homies name, which is hilarious.
Every man upon reaching manhood gets a homie name.
And every woman does too. Everyone has one.
Homie names defy gender.
Yeah.
Everybody's a homie.
Yeah. But it's just sorry for the confusion, but it's a thing that they did back then. Oh well.
Also, I think one of my altogether favorite bits in this entire game was at one point Cao Cao was talking about his friendship with Yuan Shao.
Uh-huh.
And he mentioned it's like, you know, I love him because of his mediocrity. And I'm very loosely paraphrasing there, but he's like, he's such a mediocre person, and I think that's great. And it's like, I don't know. I think their friendship is so delightful.
Yeah, it is. And also props this, by the way, to the game for looking at Cao Cao and going, no, you're not a villain here. No. In fact, the only person who qualifies as a villain is, well, the weird evil Taoist priest guy.
UG.
And Dong Zhuo, because it's Dong Zhuo.
Of course, Dong Zhuo is
a very not fat one, by the way.
Yeah, this Dong Zhuo is surprisingly svelte. He looks robust.
Yeah. And not only that, but voiced in English by Mike Pollock, aka Dr. Eggman.
Oh my god, I knew he sounded familiar.
Yeah, and that's just like, huh, there's a lot of... I've looked at the cast list, and it's a surprising amount of people you know, and a surprising amount of Asian American actors, which is neat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, hey.
Yeah, I liked Dong Zhuo's design here.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of capturing that kind of like, you know, the decadence and everything, but also he looks like he can absolutely whip ass.
I was gonna say he looks like he fucks.
Oh yeah, he also that. I mean, he whips ass in all senses.
Yeah. And then you kill him.
But yeah, Wolong Dong Zhuo can get it.
Yeah. Yeah, unlike most of the Dong Zhuos who look like they really let themselves go, but not in the fun way.
I mean, it's not to say that other Dong Zhuos couldn't get it, but this one just...
Dynasty Warriors ones definitely can't. Not without money.
No, yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah. One has to use money. This one could actually probably seduce a lady or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say character writing wise, pretty solid when you get to interact with the characters. which is not all the time. Except for one, there was one really interesting take that they have, and I feel like we know who we want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Lubu.
Ah, Lubu.
So we're used to Lubu being a master of terrible ideas and bad mistakes
He's
and
being
impulse
stupid.
control problems.
We put our faith in Blast Hard Cheese.
And if Blast Heartcheese had a rage problem.
But here he's different. It's a slightly more nuanced take on old Lubu.
Well, and this was something we mentioned beforehand. Because this game had a villain,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now starting to realize the more I think about it, this game really is just Neo 1, but Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Yes.
And Lubu turns out to be a good guy. And not just a good guy, but our sexy lady Taoist friend, who we hang around with all the time, is his sibling. And I was like, oh, that's different.
Lubu's got a sister.
And she's our Diao-chan, apparently, which was definitely a clever usage of these characters, I guess.
Yeah.
It's different. Give credit where it's due.
It's a choice. Also, the said Diao-chan replacement character Hongjing.
Yeah.
Very pretty. I
Yes.
like her design.
Oh yeah, her design's great. She's your companion and tells you all this cheese stuff all the time, so you know what the hell's happening with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like she runs off in one part and hides as a dancer to try to figure out what the fuck her older brother's doing. And as
Right.
we learn, he's trying to kill the evil wizard. It doesn't go well
No.
because it's Lubu, but it's sort of weird that that's sort of like, oh hi, it's Lubu.
But Lubu's helping you.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Does beat your ass at one point. That was a boss fight.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And also, once again, very solid design for Lubu. I
Mhm.
mean, it's hard to really not make him look good because he's got like the kind of a take on the traditional like plumed helmet and everything, but he looks nice.
Oh yeah, no. They put him in a bunch of armor. They gave him a bit of a mask element. Red hair looks cool.
Yes.
First among men, first among horses. Okay, good. Knock that out of the park. Everyone looks good. There's not a bad looking character here.
Yeah. I struggle to think of anybody who really had an unappealing design, and nobody's coming to mind.
The other interesting character attached to this was clearly Zheng Ji.
Mhm.
They never call her by her name. They just call her Lady Jen. I'm like, I love the fact that despite the fact that she goes with Yuan Shao, they still dress her in blue. They're like, yeah, don't expect her to stick around with this guy.
Yeah, she's not going to stay loyal for long.
Well, neither does he.
No,
Because of the elixir.
as was the style at the time.
As with the style, everyone listened to the evil Chi Wizard a bit too much.
Yeah.
And he looks obviously evil.
And I do love when a villain just looks very deliberately evil. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a gnarly looking fella.
Yeah. And I believe he's supposed to be, if I'm remembering correctly, the Yuji, who is the evil wizard, is either supposed to be a different person
Mm-hmm.
or a different Chi wizard from the same time period. I don't know. He's kind of the weird character here. You're playing just someone who exists.
We needed a villain to unify the rest of the cast here, so here you go, evil Chi wizard.
Yeah, evil Chi wizard who may have been Gongji, Who knows?
Maybe.
I think it's supposed to be that. There's like
There were a lot of evil wizards at the time.
there's a lot of there's like Jousy, who's a different.
But he's not quite so much an evil wizard,
Yeah,
just as a mysterious wizard.
He's our good wizard analog because we need a good wizard.
Of course.
Everyone loves the good wizard.
More like Saruman the Stinky.
Saruman the stupid.
No, stop that.
Saruman the silly. But yeah, we have 2 chi wizards because of course we do. But
What's
yeah,
the point of the story wise?
Yeah, you can't have a wizard, not an evil wizard without a good wizard. That's like law.
It's natural balance.
Yeah, just like chi. But yeah, as much as I want to go, you won't go away. Fight Zhao. The entire time when watching the plot, it's just kind of weird to see him ping pong around, trying to be like, yes, do this. And then he's the easiest boss fight in the game.
You know, did better as a puppet master than as an actual,
Surprisingly, the aging, decrepit old man was better at doing evil things than doing the whole
action.
Yeah, than fighting you with a sword.
Marvel as our hero beats up an elderly man.
Yeah, kinda.
It's okay, he deserved it though. He sucked.
Yeah, no, he was. It's not that we're going like, oh, he was a good person. It's just sort of really funny that this guy. It's like, oh, we gotta fight the evil wizard. He tries to kill you with a sword. I'm like, are you sure? I've done a lot of killing with my sword. I fought.
Let's get you back to bed.
It's like I fought Zhang Liao with this sword. And you're not Zhang Liao. It was a much harder boss fight. Even with
it's like you're
3 people with
yoked
you.
up, super high level player character. I think they're gonna do fine against the old man.
I think I only had 2 tries at him, and that's only I beat him on the first try. That's right. The actual final boss took much more effort.
I would love to see. I'd love to see like a 3 Kingdoms piece of media where the evil wizard is there, but he's just shredded. He's just yoked. Huge and just yoked, positively yoked.
You just want the character of Oswald from Octopath Traveler 2, but as a boss fight.
Sure.
Because he's absolutely yoked.
Yeah, I just want a yoked wizard.
We all want a yoked wizard. It's fun.
What else? I'm going through the kind of the beats of the storyline here, and there's a line that cracks me up because you have somebody who kind of is a recurring point in your travels, and is this mysterious blindfolded boy.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about. So you start this game with this weird blindfolded boy. I don't really remember the start of the game because it happened, and I wasn't paying attention when it was happening. So I'm like, okay, this happened.
But there's the boy,
and we find out who the boy is.
Who's the boy?
The boy is Kong Ming. It's your boy.
Kong Ming?
It's your boy Kong Ming.
Kong Ming.
Or Zhuge Liang, aka the most famous strategist of the time period, and I'm like, this is weird.
The man who once killed somebody by writing them an insulting letter.
That's the thing that happens in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. One of the many dumb things that happens in Romance of the Three Kingdoms that's hilarious.
Someone so hard, the person dies.
Yeah, there are many hilarious stories of Zhuge Liang the wizard.
And now he's the boy.
Yeah, and now he's the boy. And that was like, oh, so that's who that is. That explains why a dragon came out of him. Okay.
Yeah, so it's all kind of a this whole story, this whole setup, it's like a precursor to the actual events of the Three Kingdoms of Cao Cao, Liu Bei, and Sun Quan, you know, fighting for who's going to be the unifier, who's going to be China's next top unifier. And we get to see a little bit in the end that Zhuge Liang, the boy, can see into the future a little bit. And he
And
does, yeah. He sees this about to happen later
yeah.
someday.
And the funny part about that is, if you don't know any of what he's seeing, you'd be like, wow, that's the thing that happened.
Oh, that sucks. Don't know what it is, but that sucks for them.
Yep. Well, I feel bad for them, and only them.
Not the other thousands of people who are going to get killed along the way here, though.
Yeah, all the people that are gonna die on your campaigns, buddy.
Yeah. Just those three men in particular.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Basically, the game ends after the clash between Cao Cao and Yuan Shao at the Battle of Guandu.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, that's a fair place to end it. It felt very rushed, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, they didn't seem to spend a lot of time on it. They seemed in kind of a hurry to get to the end.
And not in like the, oh, this is bad way. More of the, like, the problem with doing anything Three Kingdoms related is that there's a lot of stuff to cover. Because you're covering not.
Yes.
It's not like when they did Neo and, like, you're covering only the lifetimes of, like, one generation's worth of guys.
Yeah, once again, the ultimate downside of anything Three Kingdoms related is that you are covering multiple generations of human beings.
Well, like, a great way to put this, for those who don't understand, the ultimate victors of this time period, like, takes 3 generations of that family to ultimately succeed. Like, it literally goes from a guy who's actually mentioned in this game, Sima Yi, to his sons, to his grandchildren.
It's an effort. Also, Suma Yi was here. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, he was here. He doesn't show up, but they mentioned him. So if there's ever more, which I don't know how well the game did.
We'll see.
Yeah, he'll probably show up in some DLC or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, like it stops before really the Three Kingdoms even really show up. Like that's the funny little secret of the Three Kingdoms period is that the Three Kingdoms don't really show up until like 200.
Nope.
So we're only, technically speaking, there's 2 kingdoms, and then eventually Wei shows up as like, okay, we're Wei now.
You've got a lot of foreplay to get through before you get to the actual central players in this.
Sort of. It's a weird thing. It's a very odd game.
And I think we've discussed that before in our previous Wolong episode where we kind of laid everything out and
Yeah, there's a lot of time period between the start of Wolong. Like, the amount of time, just so everyone's clear, from like the start of Wolong to where we end up is like 30 years. Nearly. It's over 2 decades because it starts in like 167 and ends at like 190. So we mean it when we say that a lot of stuff happens.
In the truly wise words of Horse eBooks, everything happens so much, and nowhere is that more pertinent than here.
Yeah. Ultimately, I would say good game. Very good game. But it was definitely like us going through it was not a problem.
Right.
Because we're like, ah, yes, I know who these people are. I guess the say is, Sardo, would you recommend this game to people?
I mean, I think that entirely depends on like one, does the person know, anything about the Three Kingdoms? Two, if not, are they cool with kind of like a lot of time going, don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
there
just
is
like
a
ruin your experience.
yeah, there is a like a character section, like there's a glossary. I'm not sure if I like it as much as Neo 2's glossary because Neo's 2 glossary was weirdly in like an odd spot, but like
Mm-hmm.
the game would stop and you could just see who everyone was. Like it's very weird because you have to go from like each game it's like story mission, story mission, story mission, and it'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And if you want to do one of the side missions, you'd have to stop. You have to like stop the story mission, go do a side mission, or go to the village
Mm-hmm.
filled with actors I recognize from other games. There's so many of them.
I recognized a few voices in that.
Yeah, because you've been watching me play Wrath of the Righteous, so you're like, oh, hi, Lan, you're this guy. It's the same voice, and I'm like, you're so awesome, Lan. One of them is Woljif too, and I'm like, oh hey, it's Woljif. You're here too. I guess there's several Wrath of the Righteous voice actors, and I'm like, wow, the Yu-Gi-Oh alum are here too.
Getting that paycheck, good for them.
Yeah, good for them. And
Yeah, I would say like I would recommend it to friends who like either just like a good Soulsborne-esque game and can appreciate it for just the pure challenge, or who are also willing to do some additional nerd shit for the sake of enjoying the story.
yeah, the one problem, and I'm going to compare this to Neo a bit, and not because it's necessarily fair, but it is it is this team's previous game, is
Mhm.
Neo's 1 and 2, so it's inevitable because this is technically Neo 3.
Yeah.
If you want to enjoy this game, like with Neo, you didn't need to know all the samurai shit to understand what was going on with Neo.
Oh.
The game kind of explained itself. This game doesn't. Because unlike in Neo, where you're like in Neo 1, where you're an outsider, you're just like you're a peasant here.
Yeah.
You kind of know who these people are because they're important.
You live here.
Yeah, you're from here. And
These
unlike
fuckers are ruining your day every day. Of course you know them.
yeah, and unlike in Neo 2, where you're playing someone who like kind of lived in a shack by themselves, so you're like, oh, it's this guy. Okay, you're this person. Got it. And the problem is, I would say also the samurai that they picked were much more famous to the average American weirdo,
Yeah.
at least by a percentage.
Like lots more samurai nerds are out there, I think, than Three Kingdoms nerds by and large.
At least outside of Japan. In Japan,
Yeah.
if you're a Japanese person, you probably already know who all these people are. So
You're in
like,
the West.
yeah, if you're able to understand us and also are not a Japanese person who is from Japan and grew up there, because maybe some of you have,
Hmm.
you probably don't know who most of these people are.
But I think that it's either if you know what you're talking about here, or you're willing to kind of sacrifice some of that understanding just because the game is fun.
Yeah, it's a very
I
fun
don't.
game. The deflection mechanic is really fun to work with.
It's nice.
It's nice. It's like it's really cool to be like, aha, you attacked me, but surprise.
Ah.
The elemental system is a bit weird to get at first. You might need a chart.
Hmm.
It uses the Chinese 5 elements, so it's like it's fire, water, wood, earth, metal.
I'm sorry. Every single time somebody goes into the elements, my mind goes to Fire, water, air, and dirt. Fucking magnets. How do they work? And that's the elements I recognize.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not that I think the game is bad. Like, what I do like is when you level up, like your affinity with the elements, and that affects your stats. So it's like,
Mhm.
you're not like, oh, what does heart do? It's like, okay, what does this? There's only 5 of them. So it's
Yeah.
very easy to figure out what they do after just like seeing what they do before you confirm.
Yeah, once you get a grasp on it, it's not so bad.
You're probably going to pick the one you like the best. The divine beasts are just the spirit guardians from Neo, but Chinese things instead of Japanese ones,
Yeah.
except for the ones that are shared between both.
And they're pretty cool looking too.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
like the designs. They're
You are
all
gonna eventually just default to the one that just heals you rapidly and immediately.
yes.
That's what everyone did, because at the moment I'm like, oh, this one just heals you. Yeah, why am I using this dumb motherfucker who does spikes in the ground?
Though purely from an aesthetic standpoint, I like the tiger the most.
Oh, the tiger looks awesome. They all look great. It's just
Kitty.
you just end up using the one.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I would say it's better than Neo 1, but I still think Neo 2 is the best out of the 3 that they made.
Mhm.
Just because, like, I think the narrative is a lot stronger, because the problem with the narrative here is just that, like, it just goes. You're going from moment to moment to moment to moment, and you're like, slow down, please. I am trying to catch up.
Yeah, they don't really give you a chance to recover.
Mm-hmm. You're
But it's
you're too busy having to just run to the next thing.
but it is a nice game. Like overall, because I think I got to enjoy the story a little differently as somebody who was watching rather than interacting with it. It was good. It definitely chugged along at a steady pace, maybe a little too steady sometimes, but not enough to really bring it down, I don't think. Um, it was interesting. I liked seeing Lubu as kind of more of a on the side of good. That was neat.
It was
Yeah,
fun. I would
yeah, I
say ultimately totally worth picking up and playing. Just be ready to be kind of confused if you don't know what's happening.
yeah. And if you are confused, you should check out Romance of the Three Kingdoms
And
and learn a little there and fall
join
down that whole
us.
rabbit hole. What
Join
us?
us.
What us?
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's still a very interesting game.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's a good game with some interesting interpretation on these characters, but
yeah.
if you don't know what's going on, the game's not going to tell you.
Nope. You're on your own.
You're dropped into this, and like I remember the beginning, it was just like immediate shit is going down.
Yeah, I even remember from the demo, it's just like, okay, we're just doing this now.
There's a lot of like, we're now here doing this, like the death of Sun Jian, which is a thing that happens in real life.
Yeah.
And it's like it literally is. You're just doing this part now, and now you're fussing around with his sons, and you're like, we're here
Baby
now.
boy.
There's a lot of you're here now. Go do thing.
It's
8
all
out of
right. You
10.
can.
So there you go.
Yeah, that is Wo Long,
The post
Fallen
mortem.
Dynasty.
Less of us talking about Wo Long's, because we weren't sure where this game was going to end.
I had no idea.
No one had any idea, because we knew it could. We probably had like 3 different points where you could have ended the game at, and we're like, that makes sense. Did you expect it to end after Battle of Guandao?
Huh?
Did you expect it to end after Guandao?
I did not. I actually wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm. No, neither did I. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I kind of just, I decided wherever this was going, that's where it was going. Um, to use a John Maddenism, maybe, but it was it surprised me a little bit with the choices that it made.
Yeah, no,
Some of the timeline stuff seemed a little like surprising, but
yeah,
not bad.
yeah. It's sort of like we had no idea what they were going. Because the Three Kingdoms period doesn't really have villains
No,
in the tradition. I mean, it does if you read the novel, but that's propaganda.
right.
But I think the best way to put it is that it's weird. We weren't sure where it was gonna go, and we just went, well, we'll find out.
Pretty pretty satisfied with how it ended for
Yeah,
the most
no,
part.
we understood that it was going to end at some point, and there's now room for a sequel slash DLC to continue the story to some amount of degree.
And I think it's in a good place to maybe do that. I kind of hope this gets a sequel because I'd be interested in seeing how it continues.
Yeah, because there's like a lot of other things that are going to happen after this
Mm-hmm.
that are like, well, I'm curious to see because like the evil elixir is now in Cao Cao's hands, and I'm curious what they're gonna do with that.
I
If
bet he's gonna do such evil things.
or even not so evil things that someone steals it. Maybe Suma Yi does evil things with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's
Suma Yi would do evil things.
yeah, Suma Yi's the one who would definitely do evil things. It's one of those things that we're just like, I don't know. And I'm curious, so I hope there's more.
Yeah, I would like to see more.
Yeah.
But that was well long, pretty good. I
Yeah.
would say yeah,
Yeah.
not bad at all. Not too
Totally
shabby. Give it a try.
totally a good show, good deal, good showing. The game is really fun. I would recommend. Just
As would I.
just with the note of you might not know what the fuck's happening.
And that's okay.
Yeah. In the meantime, we still got some time left.
Mhm.
Are you excited for the return of the G Witch this Sunday?
Yes.
To
Absolutely.
to completely date when this is being recorded, literally the day before.
Sunday. Stross stream Sunday.
Well, I mean, I am streaming, but I am going to be watching the second season of G Witch, hoping for the 0083 curse to not apply here. Do you know what that means? I think I've told you about this
I
before.
don't have a damn clue what that means.
Okay,
Please explain.
Okay, so for those who don't know, there's this infamous issue with Gundam series having like horrible second halves that go completely off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
And this was really the first one to really have this problem is the show Gundam 0083 Stardust Memories, which is an awesome title.
Okay.
That
is a sick title.
It has great Gundam design, has a great first half, a killer theme song, The Winner by Miki Matsubara, I believe that's the one who did Stay With Me.
Yeah.
And second half, also killer theme song, still great Gundam designs, absolutely goes off the rails.
Oh no.
And the thing is, that is the thing that has happened in a lot of Gundam series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the first time that's happened, and it wouldn't be the last time that happened. So, but 0083 is kind of the first time it's happened. Like, I don't watch a lot of Gundam, but I know a lot of people who do. And, like,
right.
You see them talk about Gundam, they're like, man, the show was great, up until the second half where it was a mess. And that happens a lot.
That is, ooh.
So, like G-Witch is, like, in its second half, and I'm like, oh, you ended so interestingly with your first half. Don't. Especially because this is the one where more people have been interested in Gundam nowadays for this one than they had in years.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, everyone's like, oh, joy, the lesbian Gundams. For once, the gay Gundam is for women instead of just.
Finally, we're feeding the lesbians. It's been so long.
Well, in Gundam times, it's been basically never.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've seen Gundam Wing, I am assuming.
Yeah, a long time ago.
The only straight Gundam is G Gundam, and that's okay because it ends with shooting a heart beam at the final boss.
So it makes up for it, really.
I mean, we can stand Rain and Tomo flying off into the sunset after blasting the final boss with the power of love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who doesn't want that?
I have seen that, and that is utterly magnificent.
It is the most beautiful thing. I love it.
But, well, here's hoping it goes well.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing tomorrow, other than streaming, which is just like, oh, I do have book club, but I have to read some Hellboy, and I'm super excited to do that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like Hellboy. Hellboy's really fun.
I adore Hellboy. That's the best kind of assigned reading.
Yeah. Have you ever read or seen the short for The Amazing Screw-On Head?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I have a feeling you would be one of the people who knows what the hell that meant.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, Mike Mignola made like a one-shot called The Amazing Screw-On Head that was turned into a TV pilot that sadly never went anywhere because it was probably way too expensive to make.
Probably so.
The downside is it uses Mike Mignola's artwork as like the actual base, which is very pretty, but like it uses a lot of colors and all that jazz.
Mignola's art style, it's very very dramatic shadows, very it's a very unique style if you've never
It's
seen
very
it.
unique, it's very good, but it's probably a bitch to animate.
Yes, I do not envy the people who had to animate it.
Yeah. I mean, it clearly was made with a lot of love for the source material, at least for the art style, because the short's on YouTube. Go watch it. It's a good like 30 minutes of fun.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Like the whole thing is hilarious. It's just really fun. It's a good thing. So yeah, I have to read some Hellboy tonight. But yeah, that's some stuff. Other than your nighttime activities, are you reading or watching anything of note?
I just picked up a really interesting.
I was gonna
Sorry,
say with the caveat that I'm not making you watch.
I picked up an interesting find at the library yesterday, and I could only get the third volume because for some reason we have the first and second ones on our like ebook resource, which
Huh.
I don't currently have downloaded. But it's cool. We have a free ebook resource Overdrive. But I got the third physical volume of it, and it's called Stitch and the Samurai, and it is a manga about Stitch from Disney's Lilo and Stitch, time traveling back to the Sengoku period of Japan and meeting. So they don't give him the actual person's name. They call him Lord Yamato. But it's Oda Nobunaga. It's fucking Oda Nobunaga. Like so Nobunaga meets Stitch and they become best friends, and Stitch like, you know, messes in samurai politics, and it's terrific. I love it so much.
Yeah, Japan. Is this from Japan?
Probably.
Because I know like Japan really loved Stitch.
Yeah, I mean it's a manga, so I would assume.
Yeah. I'm just asking because like I know they had like an anime sequel to Lilo and Stitch from the Nihon
Mm-hmm.
that I know people didn't like or had issues with.
I don't know what the reception to this was, but I'm loving it so far because it's ridiculous. And of course, Nobunaga, I'm gonna call him Nobunaga because that's who he is.
Mm.
He loves Stitch. He thinks he's the coolest thing. And I don't know. I love this weird little series. It's so good. I'm also finally reading The Flowers of Evil. The
Hmm.
Shuzo Oshimi, the one that got like the kind of a rotoscope animated series later on, but I'm reading the manga of that. It's interesting so far. It's horrible people doing horrible things to each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's called the Flowers of Evil, not the Flowers of Good.
But I mean, if you've ever read any of Oshimi's stuff, I think I talked about him a
Yeah,
while
you
back
did.
too on the show. Yeah. Um, he does a great job. His art is beautiful. And he writes some of the worst human beings you can imagine. And I
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah,
He does a good job.
yeah, that's excellent. But yeah, I guess what we're doing is this is entirely unintentional because we haven't watched more Heike story. I guess we've unintentionally realized that every time we have to talk about Heike story, it is like an hour plus.
It necessitates that time.
Oh, it does. This is not like an argument. I guess we just realized, you know what? We're gonna put a break between the episodes of them so that
Each story's its own thing.
yeah. I guess next week we're gonna be talking about Heike story. This has been
And
entirely unintentional.
speaking of reading,
Oh yeah.
um, so I know I've been kind of digging at you about maybe discussing Burn the Witch at some point since we are
Oh
both
yeah.
Kubo fans.
You
Uh,
you more so than I,
what
but
do we
go ahead.
say we what do we say we make that the episode after next?
Okay, so after the next AK story, that gives me more than enough time to read like a short thing.
Yeah,
Just
it's not very much. It got canceled actually very early because it sucks.
well, you're gonna hear about how much it sucks at some point.
Because I have very big feelings about this particular piece of media.
Yeah, I mean, I think just as like a preview, the thing about Kubo's work is that it's very pretty. And Kubo is a very good artist and comes up with great ideas and his writing, how would you describe
Bad.
it? Yeah. Like
I'm sorry. That man could not write his way out of a wet paper bag with both hands and a flashlight. It sucks. His writing sucks.
you heard it here, folks. Kubo's writing is bad.
Kubo writing bad. Kubo art very nice though.
I mean, the best thing we saw Kubo's art attached to in the longest time was Sakura Wars, and he didn't write any of that.
And it was wonderful.
and it was clearly written by someone who was writing for the 90s. And that was good.
See, it makes all the difference when you put people in charge of stuff they're actually good at.
Yeah, there are several writers. Let's see, there's more Spy Family to read eventually. We'll eventually talk about Chainsaw Man.
Oh, yes, we will.
Because we have to talk about the world's greatest character, and it's not the one you're thinking of. Or maybe it is, I don't know.
It's a surprise.
I mean, I'm willing to spoil it. I want to talk about Asa being an absolute failure of a woman.
Yes.
I mean, I love myself some losers.
And we love loser ladies, especially, because you don't see them often enough.
we have a lot to comment about Chainsaw Man. Eventually, when it
Yes.
happens. Let's see, anything else on the docket before we wrap up?
I think that about sums it up, at least
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, I think so. We Wolong was good. You should buy it. Just you might want to watch a TV series.
If you don't know if it's your thing or not, try the demo. Demo's nice. Demo gives you full access to the
it's-
character creator.
If it's still up, I don't know if the demo's still up.
Yeah, that's true.
If the demo's still up,
But
try
yeah.
it. If not, look at it, see if you want to play it. The character creator's neat, and if you're into robust character creators are probably gonna like it.
Or check it out from your local library. Lots of libraries check out video
Yeah,
games.
no. Trust the librarian.
I would know.
Yeah, you would know. And if not, if you like Souls, like it's one of the better ones. So there's that. And it's not one of those weird 2D ones where it's like, it's Souls-like combat. I'm like, but it's 2D.
It's automatically not Souls-like because
You just made it really hard. It's not.
this is just a really challenging platformer now.
Yeah, that's how I've always looked at it. I'm like,
But yeah, I think that about wraps it for today. Stross, as always, thank you for taking the time to be here. Always fun to discuss these things with
You know
you.
what? Thank you for also being here because I like doing this. Anyway, folks, I'm Stross. You can follow me on Twitter at Almighty Stross or on Twitch at the same. Sardo here is at Autopsy Garlands on Twitter. And you're
Yes,
finally back to
indeed.
streaming. Look, finally,
I'm back to stream.
you were streaming art this week. It was
Yes,
fun.
with a fun, exciting twist. I am drawing now because I find that a lot less stressful than streaming games.
Which is
I
understandable.
I think I found my thing.
I mean, it makes sense. You wouldn't be the first or last art streamer.
Yeah, so if you want to check it out, I'm gonna be on again this Wednesday. I'm at Uncle Death, Uncle with a K.
Yeah, on
And
Twitch.
yeah,
And hopefully this coming week, we'll find you a playlist of royalty-free music so you will not be destroyed by Twitch.
that
It
would
helps.
be lovely.
Yeah, the key
Alright.
is, from what I've learned, is to use video game music because they don't search for that because that would just be weird.
Really?
Well, yeah, I
Good to
mean,
know.
why would you search for video game music when that's your platform?
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, once you think about it, you're like, oh, right. Oh, so yeah, you could just like put on some like you put on some like Wii
I gotta
Shop
put on
music.
some No More Heroes bangers.
Yeah, just like create a playlist of like video game music you could play through your Spotify, and you should be fine.
Sounds nice.
It's good because you and I probably both agree. It's like I'm entertaining enough as it is, but there are the points where I'm drawing and not saying anything, and it's just
Yeah,
it's
I
that
gotta
dead
find something to fill
silence, and
that.
you're just like, I bet you were going through. It's like, wow, it's really quiet all of a sudden. Oh,
Well, we'll figure. We'll
Oh,
figure
and
it
I'm
out.
free next week on Wednesday, so if you want me on, I can totally be there to discuss art with you.
That would be wonderful. I
Yeah.
would like that very much.
Yeah.
And
you
I
will be
also
on my stream probably tomorrow. Not that
most
it
likely, yeah.
not that it matters to anyone who's listening to this because this comes out on Monday. Whoops. It's like, oh wait, this preview doesn't work.
Never mind.
Whoopsies. But yeah,
Well-
look out Wednesday. We'll probably be talking about whatever. We have all of our beloved characters will be drawn by Lasardo.
Yeah, I do requests. So if you have somebody you really want to see drawn, I'll draw your Blorbo. I'll draw your special little guy.
You drew like only my Blorbos. And not even on
Well,
purpose. I like the ones I requested made sense, but you started with one of mine as well.
I did. I started with one of your Blorbos because she's terrific.
Yeah. This was more of that it's accidental that it ended up all being for me. I want that to be made abundantly clear. This wasn't like you were playing favorites. I was just the one who threw out suggestions and you started that way.
Precisely.
There is no favoritism here, or maybe there is and it's accidental. Who knows? In the meantime, folks.
You were the one.
No, go ahead.
We'll see. No, it's all right. I was just saying you were the one who put out the request. So
This is true. I jumped on my opportunity. I saw my opportunity and I took it.
and there's no fault in that.
Anyway, folks, I think that's the end of the podcast.
I think
episode today.
so.
Not the end of the podcast as a whole. We have to go like 2 years so we can do a April Fool's joke.
It's very important.
Yeah, it's very important to the culture apparently.
Mhm.
And I mean, this is easy for us to do. It's like, oh, take like an hour of our time. Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
And until then, I'm Sardo.
And I'm
Stross.
Stross. And you have a good day now. Or evening. I don't know when you're listening to this. I can't
Good
control.
night, everybody.
Good day or night, depending on your availability and when you're watching this. Because it is on YouTube, so technically you're watching it.